the hay barn is packed to the brim. We just got another load in today and we have no more room for hay. You know, we go through so much hay here. I go through roughly 46 tons a month. So it just, you know, it just doesn't last that long. So, you know, as much as we go through, if you save $50, $60, $70 a ton, it makes a pretty big difference. You know, it's a significant difference on a monthly basis. So, you know, right now, the hay is, our barn is completely full. You know, this hay, one thing I really make sure of when I buy hay and put it in the barns and stuff is, one, my hay barn is always separated from my show barns and any horse barns, not just my show barns, but any horse barns. There's a good distance away from any of the horses. I was witness one time to a hay fire in a horse barn, and it was the most awful thing that I've ever seen, and don't ever want to see it again. And that was before I built this place, and you know, was the biggest reason that I put my hay barn far away from any of my horse facilities. So another thing important, and you know, not everybody has that opportunity. So if your hay barn happens to be, you know, with your horses, or you store your hay in that same thing or in the same place, one thing that I would strongly suggest is you invest in a hay probe, moisture probe, that you can, you know, test all your hay and make sure your moisture level is low enough that your hay is safe to store in large quantities. All our hay in here is packed pretty tight, so it's super important that when we get hay, the moisture content is low and that hay will store really good. Even though we go through it fast, it's still the stuff in the way back. You know, it may be 6-8 months, it may be longer than that before we get to it, because I really try never to run out of hay. So some of that stuff in the way back will stay there, just because, you know, if we go through half a barn, I'll have another load or 2 or 3 or 5 loads coming in. So, you know, that's the most important thing about the hay, I would say, is for storing it, is the moisture content. You know what moisture does in a hay bale, either large bale or the smaller bales, moisture will create heat when you store it, when you pack it in there too tight. And that heat, I mean, storing wet hay, that hay can get so hot. I've stuck my hand in a bale of hay before and couldn't leave it in there. So it'll get so hot that sometimes it'll combust and burn down your barn. I mean, a hay fire in a barn is just about the worst thing that can happen to a horse person.